The first vote of the 2024 presidential election.
Thank you.
The first American election with a frontrunner indicted for conspiring to steal the last one, dividing his time between the campaign trail and the courtroom.
I think he's got a lot going on in his life.
I think the D.C. Circuit will rule against him.
In the frigid cold.
The coldest in modern history.
Temperatures so low, they bring new meaning to the term negative campaigning.
Governor, is this cold going to work in your favor?
Republicans in Iowa will make their choice.
Donald Trump is a threat to democracy.
Tonight, special election coverage with Joy Reid, Chris Hayes, Alex Wagner, Ari Melber, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Stephanie Rule, plus MSNBC's campaign experts, and Steve Kornacki with results and analysis at the big board.
Once every 4 years, the big one.
MSNBC's special coverage of the Iowa Republican caucus, the start of the 2024 presidential election, is right now.
And here we go. Ready or not? Time to stop worrying about it. Time to start actually doing it. Good evening. I'm Rachel Maddow at MSNBC headquarters with an all-star roster of the news business's best and brightest as the 2024 presidential election officially begins tonight. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast. That means are now open at caucus sites around the state. Iowa caucus goers are filing in. Just 1 hour from now at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. local time, those caucus doors will close and the caucuses will get underway with Iowa Republicans making their choice for their party's nominee for president. Candidates Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis spent today continuing to barnstorm the state, urging their supporters to brave the deep cold to show up to caucus tonight. In the Iowa caucuses, there is no absentee voting. There's no voting by mail. There's no voting by proxy of any kind. You must be there in person and at the appointed time. No exceptions. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump also traveled to Iowa this weekend to campaign. I note that because it's an unusual thing for the former president. In case we needed further reminding that this is a weird election year, last week, while Trump's rivals were crisscrossing the state drumming up votes, he opted not to campaign in Iowa and instead to stay mostly on the East Coast, attending hearings in 2 of his legal cases, even though he was not required legally to be in court. That said, if the polling turns out to be predictive, that's a big if. But if tonight's results follow a poll of the race show late polling in the state of Iowa, Donald Trump could win the Iowa caucuses tonight by the widest margin of victory of any non-incumbent president ever. The polls say it's possible. The final NBC News Des Moines Register poll of the race shows Trump with a nearly 30-point lead. That said, the final poll before the Iowa caucuses has been wrong. I'm going to interrupt myself because NBC News can now project at this hour at 8:33 p.m., 7:33 Central Time, 8:33 in the East Coast, 7:33 Central Time, that former President Donald J. Trump will be the projected winner in the Iowa caucuses for the 2024 presidential election. Again, about 33 minutes after the doors closed in the Iowa caucuses, with very few actual results in, but based on the results that we do have and the entrance polling that we do have, NBC News now projects that Donald Trump will be, at the end of the night, the winner of the Iowa caucuses.
Well, no,